The morning rose in a rush as Wine fixed her hair quickly and slung her bag over her shoulder. Jimin, who had been waiting outside, finally let out a breath of relief when he saw her. I thought you were planning to sleep forever. Come on, fast. Jimin mocked. Wine smacked the back of his head lightly. Shut up, idiot. Jimin grinned and started the bike. Wine hopped on, and the moment he sped up, Wine gripped the sides tightly. I will kill you, Park Jimin. Slow down, she yelled. Too late. The school gates were already in view. The bike screeched to a stop and Vine jumped off quickly, fixing her back as she hurried toward the building. She waved at Jimin without looking back. Jimin rode off toward Jungkook, who was laughing with his friends near the entrance. Vine stole a quick glance at Jungkook, just one, then immediately looked away and rushed toward her class. Jungkook noticed. His gaze followed her until she disappeared down the corridor, his expression softening without him realizing it. The bell rang, snapping everyone back to reality. The class had already begun when Jungkook and Jimin slipped in through the back door, trying as quiet as possible. They took their seats at the last bench, but of course, luck wasn't on their side. Mr. JEON, the teacher said calmly, adjusting her glasses, I don't think you have officially entered my class yet. Jungkook bit back a laugh, looking down at his desk while Jimin shook silently beside him. Mr. JEON, she continued, come sit on the front bench next to Miss Park Wine. Wine's eyes widened instantly. Jungkook clicked his tongue softly, grabbing his books and stood up. Sure, Miss Kim, he said politely. He walked down the ashley and sat beside Vine. Vine kept her head down, pretending to focus on a book. Jungkook glanced at her from the corner of his eye, then opened his notebook and began writing. Their hands brushed once, then again. Vine shifted her chair slightly away. Jungkook noticed immediately. He leaned in a little closer and murmured, what happened? Nothing, she replied quietly without saying anything. Jungkook gently shifted her chair back closer with his hand and continued writing, completely unfazed. Vine stared at him in surprise. Before she could say anything, Miss Vine, the teacher's voice cut through the room. What's the solution to this question? Vine froze for a half a second, then slowly lifted her gaze toward the board. Jungkook turned his pen between his fingers, watching her calm, curious, and just a little amused. All eyes were on her now. Vine was getting ready, wearing a white nylon dress that hugged her waist perfectly before flying softly at the hem. The dress had an asymmetrical neckline with one shoulder bare and the other covered by a long fitted sleeve, giving it a classy yet modern look. The fabric looked smooth and structured, elegant without trying too hard. She quickly slipped in her boots and picked up her clutch. Jimin paused, looking at her for a moment longer than usual. Vine, I think you should stay. I think it's okay, Jimin. She cut him off gently, adjusting the strap of her clutch. You know that how he is. She offered a small, reassuring smile, even though her heart wasn't calm as she pretended. Vine made her way to the car, her steps steady despite the storm of thoughts in her mind. The driver opened the door for her and she slid into the back seat, clutch resting on her lap. The engine started smoothly and soon the car pulled away from the house, heading toward the destination. Street lights passed by in soft blurs as Vine leaned back against the seat, staring out of the window, her reflection faint on the glass, calm on the outside, uncertain within. The driver stopped the car and Vine stepped out slowly. She lifted her gaze and looked at the restaurant in front of her, warm lights glowing through tall glass windows, soft music spilling out every time the door opened. The place looked elegant and intimidating at the same time. Vine took a small breath, adjusted her clutch in her hand, and straightened her posture before making her way toward the entrance. She glanced at the man's back as he sat at the table, then quickly checked her phone again. Table 12. Her breath steadied as she walked toward him. Just as she stopped beside the chair, the man turned around. He looked up at her, surprise flickering briefly in his eyes before a polite, composed smile settled on his face. He stood up smoothly and extended his hand toward her. I'm Big Hyunu, he said calmly, his voice warm but measured. Vine hesitated for a second, then placed her hand in his. Park Vine, she replied softly. Their handshake was brief, formal, yet the moment carried an unfamiliar weight. Wine pulled hand back and sat down, her fingers tightening around her clutch as she looked at him, curiosity and unease quietly mixing in her chest. So, shall we order something, Miss Wine? He said politely, pulling the menu closer to her. Wine nodded, taking the menu from his hand. Yes, sure, she replied softly, her eyes scanning the options but her mind clearly elsewhere. Baekhyun watched her for a brief moment, then looked at his own menu. You can take your time, he added gently, no rush. Wine gave a small appreciative smile and nodded again, flipping a page. The quiet between them wasn't awkward, just unfamiliar. The soft hum of the restaurant, clicking cutlery, and low conversations filled the space as they both pretended to focus on the menu, each trying to read more than just the words written there. Wine nervously glanced at him, her fingers tightening around the edge of the menu. Hesitation flicked across her face before she finally spoke, her voice soft. I should go to the restroom. Baekhyun looked up immediately and nodded with an understanding smile. Of course, take your time, he said gently. Wine pushed her chair back, murmured a quiet excuse me, and walked away, her heels clicking lightly against the floor. Only when she turned the corner did she let out a breath she had been holding, pressing her palm to her chest. Why am this nervous? She whispered to herself, staring at her reflection in the mirror. She adjusted her dress, splashed a little water on her face, and took a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside her. Unaware that this dinner was about to change far more than just her evening, she quickly walked out of the washroom and collided straight into a solid figure. She stumbled back a step, instinctively reaching out to steady herself. Before she could even apologize, strong hands caught her by the arms, holding her in place. Careful, a familiar voice said low and calm. Wine looked up, her breath hitched. Jungkook. He was standing far too close, his brows slightly furrowed, eyes scanning her face as if making sure she was okay. You alright? He asked, his tone softer than before. Wine quickly pulled her arms back, creating distance. Yes, I am fine, she replied, brushing her hair back nervously. You are here too? Jungkook asked softly. Wine froze for a second, then nodded. Yeah, my dad asked me to come, she replied, keeping her voice steady even though her fingers curled around her clutch. Jungkook lightly, glancing toward the dining area. Dinner meeting, he guessed. She nodded again, something like that. There was an awkward pause, the kind where both wanted to say more but didn't know how. You look nice, Jungkook said finally, rubbing the back of his neck, clearly choosing his words carefully. Wine's cheek warmed. Thank you, she offered a small smile, then quickly added, you do. His lips curved faintly at that. Wine's shoulders tensed. I should go, she said softly. Jungkook stepped aside, giving her space. Yeah, sure. As she passed him, he spoke again, quite at this time. Wine. She paused, turning back. Just stay here. Okay. Her expression softened. I will hear too. And then she walked away, leaving Jungkook standing there, watching her disappear into the crowd, his thoughts louder than the noise around him. If you are someone new here, make sure to check out my other stories and my Indian themed book on Wattpad by Vivi Wright. Thank you so much, and comment down for the link.